Hi guys, welcome to today's video and welcome to another WWE reaction. This video was recommended by the Shadow and he said, "Hey Bunnymon, I think you should react to WWE Saudi shows used to be ridiculous by Wrestling Gives." So let's go and check out this video, especially that Crown Jewel is around the corner. This would be perfect.
In just a few days, the WWE is heading back to Saudi Arabia for another pay-per-view, and for the past few years, surprisingly, Saudi pay-per-views have definitely given us some fun and noteworthy wrestling moments, which is crazy because not too long ago, Saudi pay-per-views used to be ridiculous. The first 5 Saudi pay-per-views are some of the weirdest, some of the worst, most confusing, just straight up disgusting wrestling shows that have ever taken place. From horrible, traumatizing matches to insane booking decisions, Saudi pay-per-views used to make no sense.
You know why I feel like they were not taking those shows seriously? They were just there to grab the money, and I feel like especially wrestlers knew that all they have to do is just show up. They don't have to like actually perform that good. It will be enough for them to just show up and grab the money, and that's it. And especially that they are performing to a crowd that I don't know if they care as much about, because they care about American viewers the most. Maybe that's also another reason
Whatsoever, and they definitely deserve a look back at. The first ever Saudi show took place back in April of 2018, and with more propaganda than you could possibly imagine, it was the greatest Royal Rumble. Fresh off signing a 10-year deal worth $1 billion, the Saudi regime wanted their wrestling shows to be these big, massive, large-scale events, and for the first show, they wanted a 50-man Royal Rumble, which honestly sounds more like a perverted fetish than a wrestling match, but it's fine. But regardless, the greatest Royal Rumble was the first event, and nobody knew what the hell this was going to be going into it. Taking place just 3 weeks after WrestleMania, this was either going to be better than WrestleMania, or the most expensive house show the world has ever seen. And with 50,000 fans in attendance, it ended up being the world's most expensive house show. Pyro up the ass, a huge stage, more pyro, John Cena versus Triple H out of nowhere in 2018, Undertaker versus Rusev in a casket match. We got a random 4-way ladder match in the middle of the show, which honestly wasn't that bad, and a WWE title match that ended in a double count out. As you can see, nothing of note really happened here. There were no title changes. You know, everyone thought going in that this was going to be the night where Roman won the title after losing at Mania. Nope. It just ended up being a meaningless house show in every single way. It just happened to take place in a stadium in Saudi Arabia. Saudi fans got to see legends like Cena and Triple H for the first time. Propaganda was spread. The fans got to make their little Snapchats. You know, the rich Saudi folks got to sit on their sofas ringside and flex their status and be on their phones the whole time.
Oh my god,
to say the show was unimportant would be an understatement. And the main event was the 50-man Rumble. And I gotta say, this is the weirdest, most trippy wrestling match I've ever gone back and revisited.
Sounds fun, like 50 of them. That sounds really fun.
This feels like a fever dream. This was a 77-minute match, making this a 5-hour show. Yes, a 5-hour show. Sheesh. And this match featured 50 wrestlers coming out, and 80% of them, I swear to God, the Saudi crowd had no idea who they were, never heard of them. They had Japanese sumo wrestler named Hiroki Sumi pull up because apparently the Saudi regime wanted Yokozuna to appear, but they didn't know he'd been dead for 18 years. So the WWE was like, alright, you want Yokozuna? Here's a random Japanese sumo wrestler. You can't make this shit up. Daniel Bryan wrestled for an hour and 16 minutes, and his poor chest got turned into ground beef, and he still didn't win the match. Hornswoggle came back for this. The Great Khali tried walking out for this, and of course Titus O'Neil almost died trying to enter the ring.
Oh, that's
why the hell was he so excited to enter this match? I will never know. Since the match needed 50 wrestlers, they literally had to resort to NPCs to fill up the match. They had a guy named Dan Math enter the match. The poor guy doesn't even have a Wikipedia page. Just a weird, random, surreal $50 million house show that was 5 hours long, created to please the Saudi regime. A show that genuinely felt like it took place in a dystopia, but all in all,
keep in mind they had to actually fly 50 of them, find accommodation. Of course, they didn't pay for that. Saudis did. But still, oh my, organizing 50 people there and keeping them a secret, by the way.
Whatever, okay? There was no match here that made you question your fandom. It wasn't the worst show ever. It just felt like a random little side quest that the company was doing, and if you wanted to ignore it, you honestly could have. But all of that was going to change with the next Saudi pay-per-view 6 months later in October, when the WWE held the first ever Crown Jewel event, and there was no way to ignore this shit. After the Greatest Rumble, the Saudi regime wanted more. They didn't want a glorified house show. They didn't want to rumble again. They didn't want Yokozuna coming back from the dead. Nah. They wanted legends. They wanted big-time matches. They wanted attention away from the fact that they killed a journalist and that the entire world was looking down on them. And the WWE, despite it being a PR nightmare, despite the US government asking them not to go to Saudi, they were going to give them exactly what they wanted. Crown Jewel 2018 at first was just once again another large-scale house show. It was centered around this tournament called the WWE World Cup. The Saudi Saudis wanted their show to feel important again, so a trophy was created and a random meaningless tournament was taking place on the show to determine the best wrestler in the world. And with solid talent all over the tournament, the first 2 hours of the show were perfectly fine. Yeah, the matches were short TV style matches and it just felt like a Monday Night Raw episode, but it was totally fine. In between the tournament matches, we got a decent little title match between AJ Styles and Samoa Joe, which was good. And going into the final 3 matches of the show, in terms of just the wrestling, it was honestly a 6 out of 10, a 5 out of 10 decent house show type of event. But
Ouchie.
what this company did for the final 3 matches on this night were straight up war crimes. The third match from the top was for the vacant Universal Championship. Brock Lesnar versus Braun Strowman for the title. 2 big meaty men clashing for the title. 2 freaks of nature. A crowd that was going to be hungry for these 2 to tweak. It had the potential to be a crazy spectacle. But no, we don't deserve that. No, instead we get Brock Lesnar hitting 5 F5s in 2 minutes and winning the match. He grabbed the belt and he got out of there so fast out of the country that his theme song didn't even start playing. Okay.
Oh, wow.
You know what? I guess maybe we were the idiots for having expectations, right? Like, it was 2018 Brock Lesnar after all. But then it was time for the co-main event, which somehow ended up being an even bigger slap in the face. In the finals of the World Cup tournament, it was The Miz versus Dolph Ziggler. Yes, whatever, it's fine, okay? The Miz, before the match, attacked Ziggler. He ambushed him, he jumped on him, and he went off to get the little advantage. But when jumping out of the ring, they did an angle where he landed wrong and he got injured. So the next thing you know, you got 2 idiots before their match in the co-main event on the floor, crying, screaming, dying, while the Saudi fans were laughing at them in the first few rows.
No.
And just when you thought this company couldn't get any stupider, they get stupider. After a 6-match tournament that took 2 hours to complete, they had Miz forfeit the finals, get carried out, and they had 50-year-old Shane McMahon wearing jeans and a tank top, who just of course happened to be ringside, take his place. The finals of the tournament out of nowhere became Dolph Ziggler versus an out-of-shape Shane McMahon, 50 years old, wearing jeans, who just proceeded to sweat everywhere, throwing the worst punches we'd ever seen. And like 2 minutes into the match, I swear to God, he was so red and pink, he looked like Mr. Krabs when he lost his shell. He hits a coast to coast, and I'm surprised he didn't have a stroke, and Shane McMahon wins the tournament in 2 minutes and 30 seconds. What the fuck? Shane McMahon is declared the best wrestler in the world, and all you see is him running around with his Mickey Mouse trophy, looking like the biggest bozo we have ever seen. They spent 2+ hours running this tournament that had genuine talent in there, and they did this. Like, okay, we knew the tournament was meaningless, we knew it was stupid, we knew it was whatever, but this is just a next level slap in the face. This is just
I think this
embarrassing.
is the best they could have come with the situation. I don't think this was scripted. At least I feel like it wasn't. That's my opinion. I feel like it wasn't scripted, and then he just jumped into it and like performed and did what he had to do there.
Sorry, to have 50-year-old Shane McMahon go in there and win in 2 minutes, like, what are we doing here? Well, then it was time for the main event, and just when you thought this show couldn't get more embarrassing, it did. It definitely did. It was the return of HBK. It was the return of Shawn Michaels. After 8 years of being retired, 8 years of declining countless returns for dream matches, HBK was finally back, and what was supposed to be a sacred moment, a special moment, was HBK coming back for that sweet, sweet Saudi payday. Shawn Michaels was back in 2018, and he was teaming up with his good friend Triple H to take on The Undertaker and Kane. And with every single wrestler in the match over the age of 50 years old, millions of wrestling fans around the world.
Oh my God, I know this one. I watched a video about this one. Yep. Oh, jeez. I feel like Sean even said, I don't remember particularly, but I think he said something like, I regret coming back to that show. I should have, like, the moment I retired, that should have been my retirement.
We're genuinely traumatized. What the hell do I even say about this match? What the hell can I say about this match? You have The Undertaker and Kane, who look so out of shape and so old that it genuinely hurt to watch. Kane, who has so much CTE at this point, he was actually fresh off winning a damn election. What the hell was he doing in Saudi Arabia? I don't know. Shouldn't he be running his little county? Undertaker at this point was just down bad. He was so desperate. He was out there chasing just one final classic match so he could finally end his career on good terms. It ain't happening tonight, buddy. And Shawn Michaels...
Nope.
Guys, Shawn Michaels was bald, bro. Our childhoods died in front of our eyes before this match even started. Then the actual match started, and our childhoods basically got pissed on. This match had a combined age of 206 years old, and it was all up to Triple H to carry the match. The issue was he got injured 5 minutes into it, and the rest was history. HBK, who hadn't wrestled in 8 years, who now looked like 2007 Britney Spears, had to carry a match with a man who should have retired long ago, and an out-of-shape CTE-infested Knox County mayor. And next thing you know, Kane's mask is falling off, and he's rolling around like he's actually on fire. Every single move that was done looked bad. Suplexes were looking bad. Every move just looked like a botch. Poor Triple H tore his pec and could barely move and had to wrestle the entire match with his left arm. Undertaker and Kane in their old age had to try to catch HBK doing a moonsault. How do you think that went? Oh, and by the way, did I mention HBK was bald? This match went on for 30 minutes. Why? Why were these senior citizens wrestling for 30 minutes? Who thought this was a good idea? How do you conceive that idea to have them out here for 30 minutes? Senior citizens at the park don't walk for 30 minutes, bro. Ain't no way Undertaker gonna have a 30-minute match.
So
Eventually, it got
them.
so bad and ugly in there, they couldn't even do simple
no.
moves anymore. Like, they tried doing an Irish whip and everyone just almost died. Out here falling everywhere like Jenga pieces. It was like a higher power made sure that everything that could go wrong in this match went wrong in this match. HBK, who hadn't wrestled in 8 years, was doing his best to not tarnish his legacy and save this match. I mean, he tried, but nah, like, eventually the crowd is laughing at them, okay? Eventually it's just sad, it's traumatizing, and just embarrassing.
Yikes.
20 minutes into it, they can barely move. Triple H is injured. Taker is depressed because he just wants to have one more classic so he can retire. Instead, he's in Saudi Arabia doing this. Shawn Michaels came back for this. And even when it was time for the match to be over, it was the most depressing pedigree I have ever seen in my life. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Crown Jewel, and this was the WWE in Saudi Arabia in one match. The Saudi regime wanted to
they still got the money. All they had to do is show up.
Spectacle. They definitely got a spectacle, and this match capped off the first 2 shows of the WWE Saudi partnership. We went from getting a pretty whatever harmless house show to one of the most embarrassing pay-per-views of all time that left every single person watching depressed. What a time to be alive. 7 months later, in June of 2019, the WWE was ready to come back to Saudi Arabia for the 3rd pay-per-view. It was Super Showdown 2019, and going into the show, you would assume that the WWE and the Saudis would come together and see that the shows they just did weren't exactly working, and that maybe it's time they change their approach for the 3rd show. No, Super Duper Showdown 2019 might even be worse. Super Duper Supreme Showdown 2019 is just as, if not even more disgusting than Crown Jewel. These idiots, I swear, these idiots learned nothing, absolutely nothing from Crown Jewel. Sure, we got a little cute Randy Orton versus Triple H match. Yeah, we got some decent B-level title defenses, but after this night, after this show was over, it was hard to convince yourself to still be a WWE fan. We had to endure 15 minutes of sweaty meatball versus Roman Reigns.
If you're a WWE fan, you know these shows are just to support financially your wrestlers. Let them do it. Even if they are the worst shows ever, let them do it. They deserve it, guys. They deserve to get the box. They have been sweating and working hard for our entertainment in America. Let them go and get those bucks, guys.
Shane McMahon dominating Roman Reigns. Rest toes for hours, punches, MMA submissions because he took a jiu-jitsu class once, and so much sweat dripping that I thought my tears from watching got on the screen. And of course, Shane McMahon beat Roman Reigns. Yo, just one of the stupidest, one of the most laughable, just insane matches I've ever seen in my life. Why did this happen? Why was it this long? And then, hey, that classic is over. Let's all go watch Lars Sullivan take on 3 lucha wrestlers. I have never seen a crowd this quiet in my life. Just listen to this.
Oh no.
Oh, are you having enough fun yet? You know what? It's time for the 51
Oh my god, it's like Corona version.
What is up with them and their obsession with 50 sweaty men in the ring? What are we doing here? But nothing will beat the main event that took place on this night. You thought DX versus Taker and Kane was bad last time? You thought they would actually learn from that and not put senior citizens in the main event of a Saudi show? No, Goldberg versus The Undertaker in 2019, live from Saudi Arabia. What could possibly go wrong? I swear, I feel like I'm about to have an aneurysm at this point. Who the hell booked this? Who thought this was a good idea in 2019? My dead grandma would know not to book this shit. Goldberg, who hadn't wrestled in 2 years, gave himself CTE before the match even started. Do you hear me? This man hit his head on the door to get himself hyped up before his entrance like a Neanderthal, and he literally started bleeding before the match started and made his entrance concussed. What could possibly go wrong? Just one of the wrestlers already has a concussion before the match started. Meanwhile, Undertaker, poor Undertaker, he's old, he is cooked, he should not be in the ring unless you have someone who can carry him, and I mean figuratively and literally. This poor guy is just chasing the bag, and he's chasing that one last classic. Now, I don't know why he thought he was gonna have a classic with Goldberg, but apparently he did. So they go out there, right? And next thing you know, Goldberg hits his head in the ring post 2 minutes into the match. 2 minutes into the match, this man is double concussed. He has a double-double. Goldberg is bleeding everywhere, right? He has no idea where the hell he is. He doesn't know if he's in Saudi Arabia, Dubai, or Africa. He has no idea. Taker can barely hit the chokeslam, but you're like, you know what? At least the match will be over soon. It'll be quick. It'll be painless. He gets up Goldberg. He goes for the tombstone. And of course, Goldberg's head hits the ground again on the tombstone. He's got a CTE hat trick at this point. He got a triple-double. He's done. He is dead. Just end the match. It's over. I don't care if it's been 3 minutes. Just end the match. At least the fans got to see Taker do his greatest hits. Goldberg kicks out. Goldberg with a CTE hat trick kicks out. So now it's Goldberg's turn to hit him with a finisher because we have to trade finishers, and he grabs Taker and he goes for the jackhammer, and boom, no, Goldberg can carry Undertaker literally and figuratively, and he drops Taker on his neck. Taker at this very moment could have easily had his neck broken. So now both men are dead, and it's like, please, for the love of God, just end this. Okay, we failed the mission, we tried our best, this is not it, just end the match, you hit your finisher, just call an audible, whatever. No. Taker kicks out. For some reason, I will never understand this. They have two 52-year-old men do the tombstone reverse spot. Of course, it doesn't work out. Roman Reigns and Taker couldn't pull this off 2 years ago at Mania. Why the hell will Goldberg and Taker be able to pull this off? Both men are on the floor. There is so much CTE. It doesn't even make any sense. Taker just drops him with the worst chokeslam ever. And honestly, at that point, respect. Okay, at least he even pulled that off. Pins him. Goldberg is so out of it. He hooks his own leg. Taker doesn't even grab his leg. He just raises his own leg in the air for no reason. Just lets it hang. That is how out of it he was.
Oh my God.
It was over. The worst one-on-one wrestling match I've ever seen in my life.
On these two men could have died. Like, no jokes aside,
these two men could have easily been paralyzed. Why the hell did this match take place? Who thought it was a good idea? And why did this need to be 10 minutes? Yo, I'm gonna be honest, I still can't believe it. I can't believe the fact that Goldberg concussed himself before the match even started. That is insane. How does that happen? And I can't believe they thought doing a reverse tombstone spot with these two men was a good idea. This is the worst match I've ever seen. Like, no, hands down. Not one of, no, this is 100% the worst match I've ever seen in my life. As shameless, as embarrassing as the Crown Jewel match was, this was 10 times worse. This was another level. This is surreal to go back and watch this and try to have your brain comprehend this actually happened. But hey, apparently, this is what Saudi Arabia wanted. They wanted big-time matches. They wanted Goldberg. They wanted Undertaker. Here you go.
Got it.
I can't. All of these shows just felt like they took place in a simulation. None of these feel real. Going back and watching these, none of them feel real. You have the combination. You have a deadly combination. You have the WWE, who clearly doesn't care about these shows. They don't treat them like canon. And you have Saudi Arabia, who just wants all these big-time matches from wrestlers from the 80s and 90s. You know, they don't care how it goes down. And you just combine that with how bad wrestling was at this point. Worst combination ever. I can't. Okay. I'm done.
Wait.
I can't.
Wait. But there's more. Oh my God. There's more. But before we continue, he said like they don't treat them as canon. I think that was in the past. Crown Jewel this year, I mean, it is completely canon. Like, it continues the whole story, and things will change there, hopefully.
I've lost too many brain cells. It's just been 3 shows. I can't. The next 2 shows were, of course, useless anyway. Like, after the next show, they just continue the clownery. They did Kane Velasquez versus Brock Lesnar, which lasted 2 minutes, with Kane tapping out just to get Brock Lesnar his win back from the UFC, which was real, but this is fake. But of course, Kane tapped off camera, so we didn't see him tap. What are we doing here? Tyson Fury versus Braun Strowman, because mainstream coverage, big stars. No, nobody cared. The one good thing they did was at Crown Jewel 2019, for once we had a title change. For once, a major title change, and there was finally something of importance happening, and The Fiend beat Seth Rollins for the WWE title, which made everyone happy. It was a really cool moment, despite the red lighting, which I wasn't a fan of. But, you know, it definitely made the fans tolerate Crown Jewel, and it really raised the perception of the event. Like, yo, something important happened for once at these Saudi shows, and it was a good step in the right direction. The next Saudi show ended with Goldberg squashing The Fiend and winning the title in 2 minutes.
Why Goldberg?
What the hell was wrong with this company, bro? Goldberg, the man who almost killed the Undertaker 2 years before this, they just let him go back to Saudi Arabia. He shouldn't have wanted a man in Saudi, first of all. He just goes into Saudi, beats The Fiend, wins the title, and
should have been a wanted
great
man.
No, like, guys, I'm serious. How did we survive this? How did we watch these shows? How did we put up with them? How did we tolerate this? Like, these shows were actually the most brain dead shows I've seen in my life. You take the Saudis wanting big matches and old stars and their obsession with Goldberg and all these old wrestlers, and you combine that with Vince McMahon, who was on crack and would do anything for the $50 million. This is what we got. It is a miracle that the product is where it's at today, okay? Just 5 years ago, remember, this is what we had to watch weekly. These were the Saudi shows we were getting 5 years ago. At least these days, the product is good enough where they don't have to resort to Goldberg or something to come back and pop a Saudi show. Now we have Logan Paul. But no, like, I'm done. I can't. I am never, ever watching these old Saudi shows ever again. Even, like I said, even though Saudi shows still feel weird to this day, there's still a sideshow nature to them. Just remember what they used to be, okay? Just remember this. Now, like, Goldberg beating the Fiend in Saudi it's still one of the most insane things, and they did it on purpose. That's the one place where they could have done that, and then Goldberg wouldn't have gotten booed. In the comments down below, let me know, what is, in your opinion, the worst WWE Saudi pay-per-view moment? Is it Brothers of Destruction and DX going out there? Which, honestly, as much as I roasted it, when you look at the stuff that happened after that, was it really that bad? Yeah, no,
coming back from retirement.
It was. But yeah, let me know down below, in your opinion, what is the worst WWE Saudi pay-per-view moment? Thank you guys for watching. It's your boy Pav, aka Wrestling Is. I'm done. I'm cooked. I feel like the Undertaker in Saudi Arabia. My brain cells are fried. I think I got CTE from watching this. I'm out of here. Later, guys.
I love his commentary. Liking this video for sure. Crown Jewel was the day of my dad's funeral. Oh no, literally terrible day for me, but it was glimmer of light that my favorite team DX was wrestling my brother's favorite team Kane and Undertaker. I would rather re-attend the funeral than watch the match again. Listen, he said LMAO, okay? If we can laugh, right? This is morbid. Okay. We made it out of the trenches, boys. We really did. Yeah, I hope this year's Crown Jewel is gonna be better than these ones that we just saw. And I hope it's not gonna be added to the list, you guys. Plus, it's canon. Okay, like, something is gonna change. Something needs to happen. Alright guys, that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more. Also, I upload regularly WWE content on my Patreon, patreon.com/supportbunny. Thank you so much for all my patrons, especially tier 3 ones. I appreciate you so much. So much. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching and see you in the next video. Bye.